Hi everybody, it's Mr. Bob again. Time for Chapter 10 of Street Shadows called Apart. This is a very short chapter, so only a couple pages long. Anyway, we'll talk more after the chapter's over. Starts with Pika. Taba kept watch over Pika while Dane tried to make contact with the rest of the pack. It wasn't long before Pika saw Gree and Lamar galloping toward them across the hillside. They pulled up, breathless, and Dane and Kai and Sage arrived shortly after. Gree looked at Taba and Pika, panic in her face. Pika got to her feet gingerly, one paw curled up close to her head low in shame. Her mother came over, and Pika buried her head in Gree's thick fur. "Oh." Gree's voice was half breath, half moan. Taba nodded silently. No one else moved. "What happened? Tell us everything," Lamar demanded. Dane and Taba both turned to Pika. She realized that they had no idea about what happened. She looked down at the ground. "Well," she stopped, not sure how to continue. "It's okay," Lamar prodded. "I know it was scary, but you have to let us know what happened." "We came back, and I was lying by the den while Dane and Taba were in the golf course." She saw Lamar and Gree look sharply at Taba, but they did not interrupt. She took a deep breath and then continued. "I wanted to see if I could hunt on my own, without anyone watching. So I went over to the bushes by the path over there. I caught a vole, and then Jagger was there. He was on our territory, and he attacked me. I called for them, and they helped to fight him off." Dane picked up the story. "We heard her howl for help and raced over. He was already on top of her. Taba jumped on him, and we all drove him away, but not before he had the chance to injure her." Taba looked up, adding, "We did the best we could, but I don't think he's gone for long." There was stunned silence as the rest of the pack took in the information. "I'll kill him," Lamar broke the silence angrily. "This time he's gone too far. This is a call to war." Pika was surprised that he wasn't mad at her for straying from the others. Instead, he seemed furious that Jagger would enter into their territory at all. Gree looked at him, many different emotions flying over her face. "Lamar, let's think carefully about how to respond. If you go in there on your own, you could get hurt too. He's smaller than I am, and besides, if you come with me, you leave Taba and the pups undefended. That is too dangerous right now. Who knows, what if he gets past me and circles back?" Gree sighed. "I don't know. Don't forget that he's got that pup with him. Maybe we should wait. I have no choice. If I don't follow him now, we'll appear weak. And if we don't know when he will strike next, we'll have to be on guard at all times and stay together. Don't worry about that run. I could take him out with a swipe. Gree, you know we can't wait on this one." Gree acquiesced, and reluctance in her voice. "Well, we have to do something. Try to take him by surprise, attack him, make your point. But get away quickly. You don't have to kill him to make yourself heard." She paused, adding, "Just be careful to watch for that pup, too." "I will," Lamar assured her. "You know, this isn't the first time that a coyote has tried to challenge our territory. I'll deal with it the way I always do." He walked over and nosed her neck gently. She sighed. "I know. I just wish I could go with you this time. Be careful." "I will." Pika glanced at Dane, hoping to make eye contact. He looked as tense and as anxious as she felt, and didn't look away from Lamar. "All right," Gree announced, the final decision made. "Track him now, while the scent is still fresh. Be careful. It will be light soon. If you don't find him before daybreak, return here and we'll regroup. I love you. Don't take any risks. We can't afford another injury." Pika clamped her mouth shut to stop herself from crying out. She didn't want her father to leave. She had looked into Jagger's eyes, and what she saw scared her. She also worried about Scruff. Would he get hurt in this too? But now the events were set into motion. Lamar already galloping off the hillside. They watched his shadow disappear into the darkness. All the coyotes found a spot to lay down, their heads still oriented towards the departing shadow, and settled in for a tense wait. Pika's mind raced. If she hadn't left the den site to try hunting on her own, she never would have been in a situation where she could be attacked. She knew that Jagger shouldn't have been on their territory, but couldn't help feeling guilty for her part in this. How many times had her parents reminded the pups to always stay close? so that they could help to drive other coyotes off their territory. She had seen this many times before. A coyote would accidentally stray onto their territory, and either Gree or Lamar would bark or run at them, warning them to move on. And they always did. But last night she had been all on her own, with no help close by. She glanced over at Dane and caught him staring at her with a worried expression. Guilt and shame coursed through her body. If only she hadn't been so selfish. She would have thought about the danger she was putting her whole family in. The fact that she had caught her first prey was completely overshadowed by the rest of the evening. She turned away. She couldn't bear to look into his eyes. She repositioned herself into a ball, closed her eyes, trying to block out the pain throbbing up her leg and along her back and side. Well, that's the end of that chapter. Next is chapter 11, Leap, where things get very interesting indeed, and very difficult. You know, it's one of those things about these kind of books that I think it's important, that it's a story about the ups and downs of life, and even for a coyote's life. Things will often take a turn in ways we never expected. And again, we've talked about that before, but I think that's what is important about reading these kind of books, is to keep our heads up and to find out what it is that the author is trying to tell us, not just about coyotes, but about life in general. Pika and Scruff were boyhood, childhood friends, and things aren't turning out the way they expected, is it? It's one of those things I think it's important to keep in mind. Well, keep working hard, and we will see how it goes. This is Mr. Bob saying bye-bye.